Hi everybody, I'm Rory. You might not recognize me because my hair is really messed up today, but same guy, same person, same job, same everything. So today, I have a vague idea as to where I am. Who are you?
First of all, you're in Building 42.
Building 42.
It's very important, just in case you forgot where you went. I'm Charlie Kindle, and I'm the General Manager for Windows Home Server.
Okay. And General Manager, I've been learning this as I've gone along. This is my third year at the company. Okay, General Manager is someone who oversees the...
Yeah, I'm responsible for the whole product. So
okay.
I have responsibility for dev, test, PM, marketing, the business for the product.
Kind of a high... I was going to say high responsibility, high stress sort of thing.
It's okay. I have a lot of fun.
Well, we won't make it, think too much about the hard stuff. So, what is the product that we're talking about today? Because I'm here to talk to you about something very specific that I didn't even know about, right? And I mean, I work here, right? That's why I'm on the video, because I work here, and I don't even know. I mean, what is this? What is the product?
So what we've built is a version of Windows that is targeted towards home servers. Specifically, it enables people to have a always available, always on device in their house that allows them to store everything they have centrally, to have a very simple way of backing up all of their PCs and all of their data and making sure their data is protected and safe, and then to be able to access the stuff that they have, photos, music, videos, whatever, from outside their house, as well as from any PC within their house.
So, they'd be able to hook it up to a DSL or cable modem or something and be able to get to their stuff from anywhere?
Yeah, that's right.
So, okay, because I'm really dumb, and this is the first I've heard of it, honestly.
Okay.
And I just saw some photos on the hallway of a concept of this thing, and it looks pretty cool. And so, I'm really excited. But
the basic idea is we're going after households that already have multiple PCs. And there's 50 million worldwide, maybe 15 million in the U.S. households that have multiple PCs and a network. And we're going after that market. And if you have those PCs, you have pain that you deal with, right? You have to manage all those PCs, you have to keep them up to date, you have to back them up. For example, do you have multiple PCs at home?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you back them up?
No.
Why?
Multiple operating systems, different platforms. That's the main reason.
And it's a pain.
And it's a pain. That's actually the other thing, is that the ones that I do have, I just won't do it.
Another example where you have multiple PCs and you deal with stuff is there's ways to access a single PC remotely when you're not in your house. And you have to connect and configure a bunch of stuff, right? Your router and so forth. What we've done is we built a product that plugs into your home network just like a PC does. It's just another node on your network, but it allows you to have central access to all of those PCs.
Okay, so
even remotely.
Does it have its own screen, or is it just like an appliance?
No, it's more like an appliance.
Interesting. Okay, so it's
we actually don't like using the word appliance. We don't have a better term.
Okay.
But appliance to consumers actually means refrigerator or something like that. But for computer geeks, people who understand the industry,
these people are nerds. They're total nerds.
They understand when we say it's like an appliance. It's like it's the back of a typical Q server is going to have Ethernet, power, and maybe USB for adding additional hard drives. And that's it. No keyboard, mouse, or monitor ports.
How do you interact with it?
Remotely from a client PC.
Interesting. Okay.
So actually that's what we're seeing here.
Oh, really?
This is this is my Vista workstation, but on it I have the Windows Home Server admin console opened up. And it's actually it's when you have a router, when you buy a wireless router, you connect into it with an HTML interface generally, run a web browser, and you connect and you configure it. You can set the DHCP settings and all that junk, right?
Yeah.
This is the same analogy of that, only we've chosen not to do it with HTML.
Right.
We actually use a rich Win32 UI that's running on the server and remoted to the client.
So I have some idea then, of what it is, right? It's a thing, right? It's a self-contained, it's basically, to us an appliance, a computer with a monitor, right? That performs some special function, right? But what's in there? How did it happen? What's it running? See, this is what I do when I'm in over my head. Technically, I start just thinking of things and how they connect and stuff. What's going on?
It's an x86 based operating system. It's based on core Windows and Windows Server technology. So the best way to think about it is it's a new version of Windows Server for the home.
Really?
That is been built in such a way that it runs in a headless or appliance-like fashion on that server. And so we have the core operating system that all the technologies that are the core of Windows, and then we built layers on top of that remove all the complexity. They make it so it's super consumer-friendly and easy to use, and then enable solutions within the home, specifically around being able to back up your PCs and your data, being able to access your stuff from any PC, and outside your house. And then the last most important part is that we have this technology that allows you to have effectively infinitely expandable storage. You just plug new hard drives in, and we'll consume them and make your data pool bigger and redundant, so that if one of the hard drives fails, you don't lose any data.
Okay, so it has like RAID kind of built in?
It does.
Okay.
We don't. It doesn't actually have RAID.
It's
has
not,
another
it's
technology.
not RAID, but it's like
It's
yeah.
a technology that we built within the group and with the help of another group at Microsoft. That is pretty cool, actually. That gives you the benefits of RAID with the ability to expand your storage pool and add additional drives and have redundancy, but it doesn't. It has a fraction of the complexity.
Because you don't have to do like all the matching and all the...
Exactly.
Okay, well that's actually really cool. Now, when you said, an OS, running... Is it XP embedded?
No, it is not.
Really?
It is derived from the Windows Server code base.
Okay, so then... how'd you do that? That's kind of like, see, that's like a big question in my head, because like XP embedded, I just think about like, platform builder, and I want that, and that, and boom, we're done, right? But this...
Exactly. So there's two ways that you can build an appliance-like experience in a computing platform. One way, you can take an operating system that is designed to be embedded and is truly componentized, like Windows XP Embedded is, or Windows CE, and you can pick just the components you want and build that you need for your scenarios and build on top of that. At the end of the day, you have a dedicated appliance that does just what you designed it to do. The other approach you can take is you can take a general purpose operating system that has all the richness of things that you may not imagine are possible, and you can scope it, the surface area you actually expose to the users down to only expose what you need. And that's the approach we've taken. So we actually have the full richness of all the Windows components. So one of the things that separates Q, I'm sorry, I owe someone $1 for saying the code name of the project. What separates Windows Home Server from other products in the market that provide network attached storage is that we are a super rich Windows platform. So an ISV or developer who has Microsoft Visual Studio and knows anything about the Windows API or the .NET framework can write an app.
Okay.
And they're going to know that it's not some subset of the API that's there.
It's the whole thing.
It's not exactly the whole thing. There's some things that...
Did you guys have to fork?
No.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay, this is actually really interesting. Like from the point of view of Windows inside the company, and the way that Windows gets put out to customers. I haven't really heard about this being done. With Windows Codebase at all. This is like a very new thing.
It's relatively new. There's another example. There's a couple other examples. The primary one is Windows Storage Server, which is a product targeted at corporate customers and enterprise solutions as a NAS product.
Yeah.
And it actually is built the same way. And there's actually a kit that was available one time within Microsoft. I'm not sure the current status of it. It's called the Server Adaptation Kit, which third parties can use to modify Windows for this type of thing.
Wow. Okay.
We are really we're the first to really take the dive at making it consumer friendly.
Yeah.
That really is. People ask what the hardest problem we've had to solve is. That's really high on the list of how we take the most advanced, complex operating system on the planet, Windows Server, and keep the richness of the underlying functionality there, but make it so that the consumer only sees what the solution we promised requires. And then this is really the most complex surface area that we'll ever see is what we're seeing right here.
Okay, so to help me understand this a little bit, so the reason you went with Windows Server Base rather than, say, Windows XP Embedded is that you want to provide for that expandability in the future. And if you were doing XP Embedded, you would probably be putting something out that would be very, 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 specific to a single purpose and not very expandable. it just does that one thing for the rest of its life. Whereas in this case, I mean, are you talking like add-ons and features and apps? Okay.
Yeah. Hardware support.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if someone has this is a geek thing, right? We don't think the majority of our customer base will do what I'm about to propose, but there are geeks out there.
No, these people will.
These people
Yeah,
will.
sure.
They'll say, "Hey, I love home automation, and I want to control my lights and my blinds in my home theater, and hey, there's this company that makes this application that runs on Windows that does home control." There's a litany of them out there. There's probably 5 or 6 or maybe even a dozen products out there in the market you can download for free or buy that run on Windows as a service and will over the network or RS-232 or whatever control your home automation system. Well, you could take one of those products and as long as it installs on Windows Server, you can actually put it on Q, on your Q box.
Can you actually use terminal services to get into your boxes?
Yeah, you can. We think about the product. We have 2 types of users of the product. Internally in Microsoft, we use the term persona to describe users, and so we have 2 personas or archetypes of the product. The first one, the primary one, is Peter. Peter's not a geek. He's a typical consumer. The thing that disambiguates him from other consumers is his household has multiple PCs and a broadband network in it.
Okay.
Nothing more. That's all. He's not. He's maybe an Excel jockey at work, right? But at home, he's the one that the kids and the mom go to when something's wrong. He may not be able to help them, but he's the one they go to.
Okay.
And that's Peter, and that's our primary target. We have another persona that we enable. His name's Sam, or her name is Sam, and Sam is a geek. Sam is buying Windows Home Server because Sam understands the power that it has and is interested in as much of getting the value out of the product, but also playing with it. And Sam will be able to remote desktop to what we call the administrator's desktop, and he'll see a start menu. And if he knows how to do it, or she knows how to do it, be able to go and find the MMC snap-in.
Okay. So
we don't expose that stuff directly, but it's there.
Okay, this is kind of interesting, right? Because I mean, Microsoft has been pushing out in different areas, you know, over the past few years with consumer devices. You know, I mean, the Xbox is, you know, probably the most visible, right? The one that everybody thinks about. And one of the first things people try to do with the Xbox, at least out there in the wild, you know, they try to mod it. You know, they want to modify it. And it almost sounds like instead of fighting that, you guys are saying, go ahead. You know, like here's the box, it's got all the bits. You know, make your modifications and you know, do it to it. I mean,
yeah. I was fortunate enough to be involved in the first version of Windows Media Center Edition.
Oh, okay, yeah, because that's the other thing I was thinking about.
And while we were super proud of that product, and we had a lot of fun building it, and a lot of challenges and so forth. At the end of the day, there was one thing that we wished we could have done better when we first released it, was make it so that the hardcore enthusiast loved the product. And initially they didn't, because it was locked down in a couple of places, and it was locked down for good reasons. It was very hard to, the hardware at that time was really fragile and so forth, and so like supporting HDPD in the first version, and the amount of APIs we had, it was difficult. So the hardcore technical enthusiasts, when we really wanted to dig in, were kind of turned off a little bit, and that was a bummer for a lot of us.
Yeah.
We wished we could have done it. With Windows Home Server, we're explicitly saying that we want consumers to have a great experience with this product. We want it to be a very much a consumer, not geek product.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we want to make sure that enthusiasts love it. And so we've done some things that allow the enthusiast who wants to kind of crack the imaginary, you know, if you take this off, the warranty's void sticker off. We've actually enabled
the mattress type.
That's right.
So, do you have any examples that you've thought about that you could share, or is that all kind of hush hush, like ways that people could expand this? You know?
Well, I already talked about one with the home automation example, where you could just take a third-party product that runs on Windows and install it, and in many cases it'll just work, and then we'll work over time with the ISV community to make sure that those products can install seamlessly and so forth, because we have capabilities there. But another example would be if you're a developer and in your home and you want to write some scripts that take some files that you store on the home server and automatically do something with them. So one example would be you have a digital picture frame in your house. Okay. And the digital picture frame has the ability to read photos off of a file share. Right. You could write a script that automatically picks some of the photos from your normal folder share and copy them into that file share that the digital picture frame read.
Okay.
And it would just work, right? But as a developer, you'd have to do that yourself on your home server.
So you were
It's a very
saying-
geeky thing.
No. We've talked so far a lot about the stuff that happens within the home, but you mentioned, around the beginning that this can go beyond, right? Now, I mean, that kind of blows my mind, right? Like, would I be able to, for example, watch like a show that I had recorded from it, like remotely, or a movie or anything?
In the first version of the product, we don't directly support the scenario you described, where you'd actually streaming video off of the home server over the internet to somewhere remotely on the internet via a web browser. But that's something that a third party, or someone who is smart and geeky, really wanted to dig in there, could make happen.
It can happen, okay.
Because the support is there to do that.
That's actually really cool. That's something that I think a lot of people miss about Microsoft, right? Like, Microsoft puts out these products and intentionally leaves room for third parties to innovate and build on, so that you create like a thriving community. I just want to make sure everybody knows this, because a couple people are going to go, well, it would have been cool to have that in there, right? But at the same time, you're helping to maybe build a business by letting somebody else put their software on this home server, and build a business around that,
I love
that's
that.
actually really, really cool.
And I'm super passionate about the mother-in-laws and the family members that'll find this product and it'll solve their problems.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of a geek myself.
Yeah.
People who know me know I'm really a geek.
If
you look around,
I'm sweating
my
from
office.
you can't
it's
see it, but
insane.
he's got like 5,000. Anyway, big blinky things. Yeah. So.
And I love the idea of enabling third parties to build on top of it. And I love the idea that I have no idea what they're going to build.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it fascinates me, and I can't wait for us to release our beta and for it to get out into the wild and for people to start saying, hey, we tried this on it, and how do we make this work? And I think that's pretty cool.
So the next thing that people are going to be thinking about, geeks, right? These people, is they're going to be going kind of like they were with Windows Media Center, right? And I mean, I'm sure that you're painfully familiar with this scenario. Is they're going to want to know how to build their own box. Is that going to be possible?
It is.
Oh, really?
We will enable that.
Oh, so at the end of the day, what would you say like are the best features of this product? Like if I'm a geek and I buy this thing and I set it up at home, just bullet points. Like what are going to be the best things? What am I really going to notice about it?
So if I'm answering the question for someone who truly is a geek, who's a Sam, you're getting the most powerful operating system on the planet that you can use at home to do whatever it is that you want to do.
Wow, okay.
I mean, it's all there. There are some minor limitations, but from a geek's perspective, you get that. Plus, you get, is built-in part of the product, a fantastic, really, really cool backup system for backing up all your data in your client PCs.
How's that going to work? I mean, I'm honestly curious because backing up is something that I don't traditionally do just because I hate it. I honestly hate it. I call that meta work, which is the work you have to do to get your real work done. It's what I don't want to do. So how does that work? Like, you got your network and you got your what do we call it? Windows
Home server.
Windows Home server. So you got that set up. Plug in.
So you buy the product, plug it in, plug Ethernet and power in. You go to a client PC. You run our client software that adds some bits to your client machine. We call them computers, and we call the bits we add to the client machine a connector.
Okay.
And after you do that, we've installed some code that runs on the client that every night backs up your client to the server and allows you to get either at any point in time to restore a file or folder from the server or restore your entire PC.
Cool.
And it does it in its trick. The way it works is we have some incredibly sharp people on the team that have built an amazing piece of technology for this, and I can't talk about it a lot about.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask.
But it's very cool, and when people experience it, they'll be blown away.
Huh. Okay. And this is something that you probably can't really answer, but I have to ask anyway because I'm curious. Do you have any idea like what the price point is going to be? I know it's going to come out. I mean, so many OEMs. There's no way to guarantee anything.
Right.
But is there like a range that you have in mind?
Yeah, it's a tough question to ask because it really is up to the OEM at the end of the day, and we haven't finalized on all the pricing of things. But it will be competitive with other products that are out there.
Probably like the cost of like a computer, like a desktop.
A low-end desktop.
Oh, okay. Well, cool. That's actually a really good story. All right. Well, hopefully, maybe I can check in after things progress a little, so that you can reveal some more details.
Yeah, and actually, there's a couple people on my team that have done Channel 9 videos in the past, and that are developers. Have a little, even though I'm pretty technical, they have a little more street cred than I do, and I want to give them the opportunity to do the follow-ups.
Okay.
So
we'll come and talk to them. And another thing, this just kind of hits me. Do you have for Windows Live and for the sidebar, we've got these galleries for gadgets. Do you have any kind of community set up for people who are building additions to?
Yeah, we will. We haven't announced that yet and built it out yet, but we absolutely will have. The analogy that I draw is around Media Center Edition. There's a bunch of online communities. TheGreenButton.com, for example, is a site a lot of people go to. And we want to enable something very similar to that makes it very easy for people to both communicate, collaborate, and so forth around the concept of a home server and Windows Home Server, but also contribute. So.
Okay, that's actually really cool. So you're going to be able to create a community around people who are enthusiastic about taking this central, really what it's going to be, like the CPU of the home,
right,
and figure out all the ways that it can make your life easier and maybe more interesting. And I'm actually it kind of reminds me of all the stories you hear about, Bill Gates' house. I've never been there. He's never invited me or anything. He's going to, I'm sure someday. But I've never been there. But he's supposed to have those LCD paintings and everything. And you could use this thing to drive a situation like that, couldn't you?
Yeah, and there's all different levels you can go to with it. What I do in my house with my Windows Home Server that I run is I have a shared folder that I created. It's called Screensaver Pics. And every time I take a picture of my digital camera, a set of digital pictures, and I import them on my client PC, and they get stored on the server, if there's a couple good ones that are really good of the family, of my kids, I'll copy a copy of them into this other folder. That's all I do. And then on the other PCs in the house,
on the folder on your PC,
on the home server.
Oh, okay, all right.
So the home server has shared folders. They're SMB folders. They're just if you net view and you see the list of shared folders. And I've created one called Screensaver Pics. And then on all the PCs in the house that are and really the only one that matters is the one that's in the kitchen. That's my wife's computer. It's sitting in the kitchen. It's got a 19-inch monitor on it. That PC is set up so its Screensaver gets its pictures from that folder. And so whenever you walk into the kitchen, if my wife hasn't been using her computer for 15 minutes, that PC, the Screensaver, is cycling through it's about 1,500 pictures that over the years I've dropped into that folder. And so, and we actually, we'll get drawn into it. You'll be in there and browsing through the pictures of the kids and the trips and the family and so forth.
And I know we're running out of time, but there's, the more you tell me, the more I want to know, and I've got, one more thing that I just want to get. So I'm also a Windows Mobile nut, right?
Okay.
I love Windows Mobile. And is there any possibility that, let's say, with all the Windows Mobile 5.0 SDKs and everything, let's say I snapped a photo, and I wrote a little app that uses web service to send this photo back to my home server. Can I do this? And okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, and matter of fact, Chris Gray on my team did a Channel 9 video last year where he actually talked about doing specifically that. But at the time he couldn't talk about home server, so he didn't actually talk about it. But precisely that, absolutely.
So you can do things like that. You can expose Windows. You can expose web services and things like that you built. Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Final question, I promise. How do you deal with firewalls and things like that are built into most modern routers? People go out, they buy the router, and automatically ports are blocked and such. How do you deal with that?
So we have the ability to via UPnP to configure the router for you if it supports. Unfortunately, they don't all support it. The older ones don't support it, or it's turned off. And then if it's turned off, then we have instructions for how you go.
Cool. So as long as people have UPnP, it'll just go in there and... Well, that's awesome. So you don't actually have to do anything, just plug it in.
Yep.
Okay. Well, cool. Yeah. It's just kind of surprising because, in this job I meet a lot of people at this company and, there's so much stuff going on here that I don't know about that is really cool.
Well, we've kind of intentionally kept the product I'm giddy with excitement the fact that we've announced it and...
When's it going to hit the streets?
In the second half of '07.
Okay, so we'll be seeing him this year.
Yep, absolutely.
Very cool. All right, well, thank you for the interview. You got a knock on the door. I've been hearing Outlook emails around,
Yeah.
so I better
We're
let
coming.
you go.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you very much for the interview.
Thank
And I actually don't shake. I'm a germaphobe, but I do knuckles.
Right on.
All right. And yeah, hopefully I'll be back at some point. We can talk about all the crazy stuff maybe that people have done, and look at some of the, talk to some of your coders and look at some of the stuff that people have done in the community. Cool. All right. Okay. Cool. Well,